Hello. What is everyone up to tonight? I am currently modifying my Creality K1 Max. I didn't like where they had the runout sensor and the cables on the K1 Max, the Creality K1 Max. So it kept bumping into the rods as it moved around. So I'm attempting to relocate it a little bit taller. Hey, what's up, guys? Want the honest answer? I've had so many failed prints in the last few days, it's been driving me nuts. Mostly user error, but still. I thought I had Z-Hop enabled on my Chitty X-Max 3s, and apparently I had it set to ramp, and when I printed a couple small pieces, it just became a big spaghetti mess and layer shifts and all sorts of crap. It was kind of a nightmare. I might have to use a couple zip ties. So I can get the longer screws. This might not even work. The zip tie's too small. Some of the issues I was having with the Creality K1 Max when I first got it, you know, it just wasn't printing quality stuff, and I had a really nice print on it, and I thought I had it all dialed in, and then the very next print looked like garbage. And after doing some, I don't know, a lot of testing and tuning and playing around with it, I realized it was the file. The print itself was a crap print. I mean, it was just, no matter what printer I'd put it on, it just printed like crap. And so I was like, okay, so it's not the slicer, or the printer, because the very next print I put on the K1 Max was amazing again. So it was like, okay, the settings were right, but the actual file was just, I don't know, low quality file. And it can happen. I mean, I was talking to a guy that does a lot of designing, and he basically said, he goes, people can, you know, to save on memory and size of files, they can make the quality of your item crap, and that's what basically happened. I know I have more zip ties around here. I also have a whole ton of more screws, so maybe I'll find one that'll work perfect. won't say it's perfect, but it works. So how's everyone doing? Hey guys. Yeah, honestly, I am liking this printer, the K1 Max. I had a lot of people tell me that it was gonna be horrible, and then I had a lot of people tell me it was gonna be great. So it was kind of like, do I buy one? And for the size, it was kind of nice because it fit where I needed it to fit in my office. But I was real hesitant because I'd heard so many bad reviews, and then I've heard good reviews, but it's always hard to, you know, when you hear so many people that you trust say bad things, it's hard to go, oh yeah, that's going to work out great, because, you know, just because you're a sponsored or endorsed or whatever on YouTube doesn't mean you're actually going to tell the truth. I mean, let's be honest. And so I got it. I had so many issues with it that I had already contacted the Creality and said, hey, I want to send it back. I'm just not having the best luck with it. And good old Creality completely ignored me, which, you know, that's what they do. They're known for being horrible customer service. But, you know, I worked it out. I figured out my own issues, and where did I put it now? And, you know, I mean, it's working. I dropped it? I dropped it. So, I mean, you know, they always say it's user error, and oftentimes it is user error. I know I've had that same issue where it has been me, not necessarily the printer. You know, today with the failed prints I had, it was me. I had 2 different failed prints on the XMAX 3s. Woke up to horrible print. I mean, just big spaghetti messes. Really frustrated the hell out of me. Turned out I didn't have ramping turned on, or I had ramping turned on, but that wasn't the right one. So I had ramping turned on, but I didn't have like the lift the Z-hop. I didn't have Z-hop enabled. I thought I had Z-hop enabled. It was ramping, which is another version of Z-hop, but it's not the one that really works when you have small prints. And I had a small print, and it just kept hitting the print, and yeah, became a big mess. So, you know, I try not to get too upset about that because it was my fault, but I was pretty pissed. And then later today, this one decided to clog, and I've been dealing with clogs on this XMAX 3, and it's been driving me nuts. The clogging has been driving me nuts, but you know, it's oftentimes it's user error, and that's why I just try not to get too pissed and not always you know, talk about how frustrating it can be when it's user error. But it is common to have user error and have that be the reason why things are failing. We never want to hear it though. We don't want somebody to go, yeah, it's your fault, you did it. But that's sometimes the case. Sometimes it is your fault. And my dog's running around playing with a toy. But, you know, I'm going to do a review on this printer. And I want to show you some of the stuff I've been doing right now on the K1 Max. This has been out for a while, and I know a lot of people have heard a lot of reviews on it. It's not a bad printer. I think slowing it down is going to help the quality of the print. But my first modification, I printed one of these little risers for the top. There's a glass top on here. It's loud. Oh, by the way, this thing is loud as hell. I mean, it's loud. It's like ear-deafening loud. That's just stupid how loud this thing is. I'll try to get it on so you guys can listen to it. It's ridiculous how loud this thing is. And I know people have talked about it, you know, but that fan is just loud. And I have a lot of printers and a lot of fans, and I've heard it, you know, heard it all, but this thing like screams. It's so freaking loud. It's kind of frustrating, but there's supposed to be some things you can do. I'm hoping I can figure out, maybe slow the fan down or something. With PLA, I don't want to slow it too much. So I just going to check my... So there's a... Yeah, so anyway, it's loud. There's a printable file that relocates the cable chain up off of the... Here, I'll see if I can show you what I'm dealing with. So the cable chain literally rubs on this rod, and as it moves, it hits the wall. So I'm dealing with that. I'm looking at seeing if I can move the cable chain up. So I'm going to probably print something that moves it up and relocates it up a little higher. But what I did is I moved this up higher. It was bolted down here, so I moved it up higher. And I think that will help once I get the cable chain moved up a little bit. But yeah, it's just in a weird location. When you put the glass top on, it's like right here on the glass with the glass top. So you can't really do this unless you do the mod here. And the reason why I did this printable mod, let's see if I can show you where my glass. Oh, here it is. Okay, so you put this glass cover on top, and you still have ventilation. So it kind of quiets down the sound, the whistling noise. So it is kind of a nice, it's actually kind of nice. I've been able to keep all the doors shut on this thing and still print PLA. So, I mean, this has actually worked out pretty nice. And this is I think it was printables where I got the file. But it worked out pretty good. I haven't glued it together because I wasn't sure if I was keeping the printer. So now I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it. So I'm just going to glue it all together and tighten it all up. But so that's what I've been dealing with that. I've tried a couple different slicer programs with this one. I'm not a huge fan of Creality Slicer. It crashes a lot on me. It reminds me of Cura, which also crashed a lot on me when I tried to slice stuff. So I'm not a huge fan of the Creality one. That being said, I'm still using it because I haven't quite figured out a good setting for using a different one. So I'm still kind of playing around with Orca right now and seeing if I can get a good alternative other than the Creality one. I'm using Chitty's slicer program. I'm actually using Chitty for a couple printers now. It's basically the Persia slicer, so it's not anything special. It's just kind of more of a dumbed down, easier version of Persia. Should say dumbed down. It basically kind of like user interface easier. But anyway, I'm gonna get this thing fired up. I'm gonna do a print. You guys can hear it. All the K1s are going, so you can hear how loud they are. They're not super loud. I do have a fan filtration thing, just to kind of help with the little bit of smell. But it's printing good. Check out so I lowered the volumetric rate, and I mentioned that in another video, and I want to show you why. So actually, I have a print here I just did. Couple prints actually. So let's go sit down in the handy dandy chair. Move shit out of my way. I got a messy office because I'm just a mess. Okay, so I lowered the volumetric rate to like 18, 20. It prints slower, but it prints nicer. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm leaving it at that. I am going to play around with that's with the Creality printer, the K1 Max. I'll probably leave it at like 18. I might play around with the jerk settings to see if I can get it to get less ghosting. I know that's an issue. There's actually a Facebook page just dedicated to the K-series ghosting. That's how bad the ghosting is. But this is off of the K1 series. I know it's little. It's a shoulder pad for a customer that's on the small side. But it printed really nice. I mean, there's still some, you can see the ghosting down here. So you can see how the color changed. That was from changing the temperature. What I normally print at with this PLA is 220, and it works great on basically every printer at 220. But with this one, I have to print it at 210, and you can see, if I can get it in the light, you can see the difference, almost the color difference and everything. But the quality did improve slightly, but you can kind of see some weird defects, some ghosting. So that's kind of stuff that I'm trying to work out. I think maybe some lower jerk settings might help. But that's off the Creality printer. So I mean, that's pretty acceptable for a lot of people, and I mean, it's acceptable for me. I'll send this to a customer just because I do like it. It's nice, a little bit of sanding, and you know, it'll be fine. But what I was going for, I was shooting for something like this, where it's like perfectly smooth. It's not always the case, and doesn't always happen. But this is off the. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the issues on it. This is off the Chitty X Max 3. So it's still, you can look, I love that texture, man. This is like a gauntlet. It's pretty cool, but I like the texture on it. This is a Hex 3D file if you're looking at, you know, files. I just love the texture because it even looks like a buckles. Cool. So that's a pretty cool print, but this is off the X Max 3 and it's super smooth. I mean, it still might take some of this flat areas like this. I would personally still sand, but that's an acceptable print to send to somebody where what I've been getting had a lot of ghosting and that sort of thing, and that was just driving me nuts. It was driving me bonkers. So I'm trying to get rid of those things, and I'm trying to figure out how to best do that. And I know everybody asks me for them for my settings, but I'm always playing around with them, and I'm never happy. Once I finally get a happy place, then I'll be like, hey, here's my settings, but I'm never happy. So let's I'm gonna go through and go through and read this here. Hold on. Yeah, Elegoo has great customer service. Honestly, they're one of the best. Anycubic responds, but to me, that's my experience. They've responded, but they take forever, and they oftentimes ask me to jump through a lot of hoops, which drives me nuts. When I tell Elegoo I have an issue and I give them, you know, the few things they ask for, they immediately send out a part. So they're pretty good to deal with. Chitty has been really good. I had better customer service with Chitty's X Max series customer service. They have it broke down to different people that respond to different printers, and the X Max series is you know, that guy just, or whoever it is, gal, I think it's a woman. I think they're all, honestly, I don't know. What do I know? It's hard to tell when you see people's names anymore, but it could be one of those things where I deal with like the X Plus person, and it was horrible, and I was like, okay, this doesn't make it. But yeah, my customer service with Chitty on the X Max series, X Max 3 series was pretty good. I did just order a new printer. I got in on an early purchase. It's the I'm gonna read some of these. I keep ADHD. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, Elegoo sending me a new hotbed for the printer that the wires burned up. I ordered an Elegoo Neptune 4 Max that is the damaged for repairs. So I've got that coming. I'm gonna probably keep it as like a anyway. So they're gonna send me a new hotbed for the Elegoo. It was almost immediately. How do I figure out my sizes? So oftentimes I'll ask somebody for their circumference of whatever it is, the arm, the leg. Hold on, let me see if she emailed. She might have messaged me. Hold on. Sorry about that. She's trying to see if I want Dairy Queen. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry. Hopefully you guys can see me again. Anyway, so to measure something for somebody, she said, "What? Are you on drugs?" No, I'd be in a happier mood. I often ask people for their circumference. So, like, if it's this portion of the arm, I want their circumference of their arm. Probably the biggest one, usually the media section. That way, when you slide this on, it'll fit. So what I do is when they give me their circumference, I take a cross measurement, basically this point to this point, cross measurement. And usually the widest area, you can kind of see, and then I'll times that cross measurement by 3.14 and get the circumference, and then I'll try to dial it in as best I can to that circumference. I want a blizzard. I know I probably should, but I don't know. I want to chat. I don't want to mess around with talking to my wife about getting me Dairy Queen. So that's how I do the circumference. The same with the chest. I'll measure the distance across the chest plate that I'm printing somebody, and then I'll do the times 3.14 to get the circumference. And I haven't had any issues with that. If you have a PC, I don't have a PC. If you have a PC, you can buy the Armor Smith program, and I know people that have had decent luck with it. It's not always the most accurate from what I hear, but they don't have it for Mac, so I can't use it. But yeah, so that's how I measure those. Same with the shoulder. I mean, I tell people to measure the shoulder from like this point under the arm, and it gives me that circumference, and then I can make it a shoulder plate. And I just, like I said, I just use the measurement tool in the slicing program I use. So actually, it's actually pretty handy. I've done it so many times now that it's getting easier to do, but at first it was it was really freaking me out, because I was like, I really hope this fits. I really hope this fits. And then they would message me and be like, yep, fits perfect. And it's like, oh, thank goodness. I was stressing out for a few of those orders because I didn't know, you spend all that time printing someone's order and then it not fit. It's like, oh, that would suck. And it's happened a couple times where people give me measurements and it hasn't quite fit, but it's not an exact science, so you just kind of have to figure it out. It's hard to do when you can't see somebody. So it's like this. I mean, when I see it, I'm like, oh crap, that's not gonna fit. But I don't know how big the person is. So, hey, how's it going? Just fixed my. Well, I should say fixed. I was just modifying my Creality K1 Max. I'll do a review on it hopefully soon and do a video about it. But it's working out. I mean, it's good. I have realized that the guys that were telling me it's a great printer and that the prints were great, never really thought about it this way, but when somebody tells you it's great, their version of great might be not your version of great. When I was getting ghosting on it and I was like, hey, what are you guys doing for settings to get rid of this? And they're like, oh no, I don't, I still have ghosting on my prints. Then how was it a great print? I'm like, if I have ghosting on my print, it doesn't feel like that should be a great print. But then, like I said, I can be picky. I chase perfection. I've been told that before. But yeah, this is off of the Creality K1 Max. You can see where I changed the temperature. There's a line here. I lowered the temperature and got a better print. I'm actually gonna try to print another thing on the Anycubic. I don't have high hopes for the Anycubic. It's just been printing really crappy lately. Trying to see if I have something here I can show you. I've been getting ordered some visors lately from Galactic Armory. I use most of their files, so I figured I'd order some of their visors. Nice visors. I've never had colored visors from somebody that's vacuum formed. And I didn't realize you can't really see out of them. But they look cool. So that's from Galactic Armory. If you guys, I have an affiliate link, but I haven't really shared it. This is, they accidentally sent me the wrong one. This was supposed to be a different one altogether. but this is the one I actually ordered for a Halo helmet. Turned out pretty cool. You know, so that's not bad. That's what came in this week. What else? Oh, yes, I was going to tell you about the printer I just ordered. I'm going to look it up because I don't want to... I've never ordered this kind of printer. I'll look it up real quick and see if I can find it. Okay, I believe it's called Sovol, S-O-V-O-L, Sovol. There's a new one that just came out that they're making. Let me see if I can find some information on it. They just did an early bird pricing. Where is it? Why can't I find their website? Oh, there it is. Okay. So a buddy of mine suggested this printer and getting it in on the early bird pricing. So it's Sovol, S-O-V-O-L. It's their new SV08. It's a 350 by 350 by 345 Core XY printer. So I'll flip this around if you guys haven't seen it yet. So this is the printer I just ordered. They've got it down to, this is basically what I paid. And it's supposed to be an early bird pricing. I was on here earlier today, and it went from this price to almost $800, and apparently back down to this price. So, if you're going to order one now before they go back up to $800. But it's not supposed to be delivered till early May. But it looks like a pretty cool printer. You guys have probably seen videos on it, I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah, I honestly I've never had experience with this brand. A buddy of mine was like, yeah, there's, a lot of people like it. They've been out for a long time. It looked like a pretty interesting printer. So I ordered one. I thought, why the hell not? My wife's probably going to kill me when she sees it, come in the mail. But it looks like a pretty cool printer. I'm hoping that it might replace one of my big bed slingers. The X-Max, the Chitty X-Max 3s, they print at 325 by 325, I believe. So this is only slightly bigger, but it's, overall it looks like it could be a good machine. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I know there's already one review on YouTube if you guys want to look it up. The guy reviewing it was hilarious. I didn't watch it all. I watched a little bit of it, but the guy was like, "Yeah, I didn't even want it." It was like, okay. Yeah, I mean, last night when I looked at them, they were down to $4.99. When I bought it, it was at $5.50, and then about 2 hours ago when I looked again, it was like almost $800. So might be worth getting when it's cheap. I'm not going to get the enclosure for it, and I don't print a lot of stuff with ABS, and I don't really need the enclosures. I just bought these Core XY printers because they were the big ones. I do like the idea that I can, so it's kind of nice. So that's the printer I bought. Got that coming in. I also still have the Chitty Q1 Pros. Those are coming in. I ordered a couple of those almost a month ago now. And they notified me that they'll ship toward the end of this month. So the build volume on those is about the bamboo size. So it was another entry and early bird pricing thing. So, and then I think that they're still selling them at the early bird pricing. But I fell for the the ad. But yeah, it's been an interesting couple days. I've had some really frustrations. Some big spaghettis. A lot of this happening. I have another one here somewhere. Right here. It's like a 14-hour print, and 8 hours in, and it clogs, or I think these were both clogs. The printer clogged. But yeah, it's I thought about making drinks, a drink carrier, like a half gauntlet drink carrier. Put your little beer in. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, they printed nice. They were printing great, but they're printing slow. And the reason why they're printing slow is because I'm trying to get rid of the ghosting, and so I'm trying to get rid of all the movement in them. I've been pretty good so far getting rid of them. I'm also trying. I'm trying not to be so picky. I'm super picky, and I'm trying not to be picky. So, but a lot of great files that have come out lately, and with the I don't know if you guys have watched the Fallout series on Amazon. I loved playing Fallout. I played all of the Fallout games. I played all the Halo games too, but the Halo TV series I don't watch. I watched one of the Halos. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm not sure if that's the case with that particular printer. I should have probably done more research, honestly. But I was like, get out. I don't know. I was being crazy. Software closed normally. Oh. So this, if you haven't seen the Creality, if you don't have a Creality, this is the Creality slicer program. It's a little interesting to learn to use. This is your layer height. You have to adjust it. The filament type, your printer type, that sort of thing. I don't know what all this crap is over here. The funny thing for me is I try to close it. Watch this. Whoop. It takes me a couple tries, but I finally get it to close so I can drag and drop a file. But it's like, okay, why is it happening? And then it crashes on me from time to time. Let's see. Oh, I need to print something for customer. Wait, let's making sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see, what should I print? Oh, you know what? I need to print the riser mod. I want to see if I can. What is this? Cable clip? I don't think that's what I want. Huh. It'd be kind of nice. I mean, I played around with some of the settings on the Creality, the K1 Max, with the spaghetti setting, or whatever it is, the AI detection, and it kept stopping the print and made the print look like crap. So I turned it off. Kind of pissed me off, actually, because there was nothing wrong with the print. I don't know why the AI was freaking out. So I was like, oh, okay, it looks fine. And then the more it kept stopping, the more it kept looking like crap, because you could see where the layers, the new layer was laying down. It wasn't really a layer shift, you could see it. It was like, okay, there's a little bit of gap. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. Duh. Oh my gosh. Let's see if I can just do it direct. I was printing something on there when I ended up stopping it because it was, oh, you know what? ADHD. I'm sorry. I forgot I was going to change the file. Recent. There it is. Okay. Let's do that. Oh, come on. That is not... Dick. Apparently it didn't save. Huh. Goody, I get to start over. Oh well. So you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do Balin Skulls hand armor for a customer. I'm just gonna get that on the slicer. You know what? I should probably check, make sure my settings haven't reverted back. That seemed to be an issue. Volumetric speed 18. Okay, cool. Temperatures 210. Perfect. Slice. Oh, thank you. I had lots of them. And then I have a lot in bags or in boxes. Trying to sell them, actually. I just sold my Fallout collection. Once the show, when it went live, I sold my Fallout collection, which is hilarious. So I'm gonna print this. Scan. Yeah, the Creality slicer has been kind of interesting because sometimes I log in, it's not the same. There's not the same, you know, thing. It's like I left it and all of a sudden it reverted back to not knowing what the hell it was doing. Yeah, I have collections. I bought all these different things with high hopes of having, you know, like one section for Fallout and one section for the Loki series and one section for this and one, you know, and I have like G.I. Joes and Terminator or Transformers and then I have right here I have my, you know, Chase series stuff, and Star Wars kind of just engulfed everything. They have so many different Star Wars ones, and I don't even have them all. I just have a big collection of Star Wars, and so I was kind of like, okay, well, what do? I have walls of Star Wars, you know, and no room for anything else. So I started selling off the collections. Speaking of that, one's gonna fall off the wall. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of focused on Star Wars, and everything else is kind of in boxes. I mean, I'll probably sell it all, but this was right before I got into 3D printing too. So now that I'm into 3D printing, I'm like, now I want to put, like, I'm actually printing, printed a couple of these. These are like helmet mounts. You mount this on the wall and you put a rod and you basically can mount your helmet on your wall. It's a Galactic Armory file if you're curious. I bought the rods. It's like 7/8 inch rods. And then my idea was I'll mount the helmets I've made. So I'll put these on the wall. I've got a few of them on the wall, but I've been using pipes. Kind of cool looking. So that's how I've been mounting them on the wall, and then I've been putting like a Funko Pop next to them. So I mean, I like the way they look. I just I don't know. I have a 3D printer now. I can 3D print stuff. So I thought, why not? I'll just 3D print. Do you hear that? It sounds like farting. Yeah, that's the K1 Max. It takes the bed and it goes. It's kind of funny. Oh, yeah, this guy. He's got binoculars. If you're curious about the visors, these like flat visors, a lot of people use face shields. I think I've got a video on here about that, but I hate face shields because they look like crap. And I'm you know, picky. I gotta glue this back on. It popped off. But I basically took like every single design and modded it onto one. This is from Alter Ego Armory. Alter Ego Armory, I believe. So you can get this file. This helmet, this actual helmet is when I sliced together out of 3 different helmets he made. So you won't probably find this helmet file, but you can get the binoculars and you can get all the individual ones. If you want this specific helmet, I have it. I'm sure you can slice it up and figure it out how to do it yourself, but I have it for sale DIY wise on my Etsy store. Did you hear the fan kick on that stupid Creality K1 Max? I shouldn't call it stupid. I paid $250, $260 for it. I think it was $260. maybe more, because when they added taxes, it was like $720. And it's a reasonable priced printer at that price. I wouldn't pay $900 for it. It's not a big enough printer for $900, especially when I get that one for $900, and it prints way bigger pieces, and so far nicer pieces. So I'm having a hard time, and it's a heated chamber, by the way. I can get this one heated, so I'm kind of like, oh, thank you, thanks. I have other ones. They're kind of scattered across my office right now. This is another one that I made. It's also a custom one. So you can buy this helmet file from Galactic Armory, but it doesn't come with the side pieces. This is modified, and then I added these pieces off of another file. So yeah, and then I broke the antenna piece when I was moving printers around. So all this is kind of, the helmet itself is a cool file, but back to the visors. So the visors, I'm using a method where you put the window tint inside a thermal pouch, and then you run it through I forgot the word all of a sudden. The laminator. Oh, wow. So you run it through your laminator, you put it in a thermal pouch, you run it through the laminator, and then you basically laminate your window tint with, inside a pouch. It actually works out pretty cool. So that's where I started doing all that. That was a tip given to me by Insomnia Props, I believe is what it was. He might be on YouTube, but I know he's on Instagram. Yeah, let me go show you the printers. So the K1's working. I haven't gotten this print started for the Anycubic, but I'm not worried about it. So the fan hasn't kicked on yet. This is still quiet for it. Oops. You can see where I kind of modified it. I started the video by modifying this piece and putting it up higher. I'm going to actually print the cable chain extension and lift it up a little higher, because my problem is it keeps dragging across this rod right here. So I'm trying to get rid of some of that. When the fan kicks on, like fully kicks on, you'll know. It is loud. Some of the tips I've heard about for this printer, for the Creality K1 Max, people are using sound deadening material on the inside. So it's kind of, that's how loud it is. Yeah, why am I not viral? I don't know. I don't know. I've only started using YouTube in the last 2 years, 3 years. I got on there a few times, made some videos, and then nobody really cared, so I just kind of didn't do anything with it. I didn't start getting seen until I made videos comparing the Elegoo to the Anycubic, the Neptune 4 Max and the Anycubic Cobra 2 Max. Once I started comparing those two printers, and giving people tips and stuff like that, that seemed to be what really inspired people to follow me or subscribe. So it's, and I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm always fixing something. I've mentioned this in a couple other videos. I have the worst luck. I often wonder if it's just me being stupid. But I have the worst luck with 3D printing. The guys that I go to for help they've all told me that I have the worst luck. Which is funny, because one of them actually had a printer catch fire. So when you're a guy that had a printer catch fire and you tell me I have the worst luck, I must have horrible luck. But yeah, anyway, wait, what's the questions here? Well, I appreciate you subscribing. That's cool. Thank you. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Yeah, 3D printing is consuming my life. It's become an issue. Wake up in the middle of the night and to roll over, and then I check my phone and I'm like, okay, which one's printing? Oh crap! And then, and then I get up and change filament or something stupid. It's literally consumed my life. And now that I have an Etsy store and tons of orders, it's really consuming my life. I really appreciate it though. I mean, it's, I can't complain, and I'm not going to complain because it's definitely helped. We it was getting to a point where I was going to end up having to sell my Jeep because I didn't have the money. I'm sorry, I'm looking for a phone charger. My phone's going to die. I was going to have to sell my Jeep because I didn't have the money to pay for my Jeep, or not pay the bills. So I was like, I'll just sell my Jeep and pay the bills. But the Etsy store took off, and now I don't have to sell my Jeep. So, which I'm excited about because I really like my Jeep. All right, hopefully that works. Anyway, kind of working. Oh, can you hear the fan on that printer? It kicked on. It's just got a real high pitch squeal is all. It can get kind of noisy, so that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, that's the K1 Max. I think there's a way to like lower the fan, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the reading. Yeah, I have some commissions that I haven't gotten done. Some painting commissions. I've been so focused on fixing my printers and stuff that I haven't really had the chance to fix anything. So, or to finish my prints. I think we have guests. Hello.
Hello.
You brought Dairy Queen.
I did.
She brought me Dairy Queen. I'm on a live. There's my wife.
No.
She's like, no.
I brought you a special Dairy Queen. Not one that's on the menu.
What'd you bring me?
Well, it's supposed to be chocolate ice cream with Nutter Butters in it, but I think it's just Nutter Butters.
That's fine.
Very upset. I asked for chocolate.
Well, maybe just put it in the freezer and I'll eat it later. So, yes, that's my wife. That's Amy. Yeah, I have the worst luck, and that's why I started making videos, is because I was like, if I'm fixing this, I should just record it so somebody can see how to do it. Oftentimes I don't record things. I just kind of just start fixing things, and then I'm like, oh crap, I should have recorded that. Because I have the thought, the reason why I started doing this is I had that thought, like, if I'm having to fix it, maybe somebody else is having to fix it. And then I was in a lot of the Facebook groups, and a lot of people were assholes. And so I was trying to like, okay, if I figure it out how to do it, then I'll tell people how to do it without being a dick, or try not to be a dick. But the Facebook groups really, they were just what inspired me to make some of the videos, because they were like, hey, what do I do about this? And there was post after post after post asking the same sort of questions. And it was like, well, I've already fixed that, and I could show them how to do it. So that's why I started making informative videos, is because I was like, hey, I've already fixed this, this is what I've done to modify it. And I like modifying things. I mean, I was really big into the 4x4 thing. That's why I have a Jeep, and I loved modifying things. I mean, I took a Sawzall out of my fenders almost within 6 months. Within 6 months, I Sawzalled my fenders. So I mean, it was a brand new Jeep, and I just, I like modifying things, making it better, and doing it as cheap as possible, because I'm cheap. So that's why I started making videos, and I'm glad that they're helpful, because oftentimes I'm like, are these even helpful? Why would somebody want to watch me? I'm reading your comments. We've got a guest. My wife went out to dinner with her friend. I'm waiting for them to pop out. Oh, thanks, Anne.
Hi.
Hi. See, that's Paula.
Hi.
My dog was in here for a sec. He was like, "Oh, you got food." Yeah, Amy's usually on the other side of the wall working. She works from home and she'll bang on the wall. It's kind of funny. Well, I'm glad I helped. You know, and if you guys have more questions about stuff, if there's issues, you can always message me. There's been a few people I've helped, just like on Facebook or on Instagram, that have messaged me and said, "Hey, how do I get my bed leveled properly, or how do I get my firmware updated?" If you ever have stuff like that, I don't mind. There he is. Look at him. Look at the boy. There's Paula again. Bye, Paula. That's our neighbor, Paula. But my dog's wanting I can smell its chicken strips. I can smell chicken strips. So yeah, it's that's basically why I started doing stuff. I modify things, and I wasn't sure about 3D printing. Started a year and a half ago now. I really wanted to make a Halo Master Chief costume for myself, like a cosplay setup. That was the reason why I bought a 3D printer. He keeps coming over. He's like, "Hey, you got nuggets?" He's like, "You got nuggets. I know you got nuggets. Give me some of that chicken." So that's why I bought a 3D printer, and then it was just a cheap one that I had all sorts of issues with and had to fix all sorts of things. And I didn't make any videos on how to do any of that stuff. That was way before I made videos. I just constantly had issues and was asking people how to do things. But the Predator outfit would be kind of cool. I'm doing one for a customer that is it's an armor from Aliens, the marine armor from Aliens. So I'm doing that one for a customer. I'm excited about that one. I'm doing a lot of Helldivers armor. I'm also dabbling in having files made for myself. So I'll be selling STL files here in a couple of months, maybe a couple weeks, depending on how fast it gets done. But I'm having some files made for me that I haven't been able to find on the internet. So instead of, I basically just commissioned somebody to make me some files. Yeah, send questions here. I mean, I'm on everything, honestly. I'm like almost every social media except for maybe Snapchat. I'm too old for Snapchat. One of the neighbor kids was like, "Facebook's for old people." I'm like, old. Like, duh. But yeah, I love making cosplay stuff. It's been some of the funnest things I've been able to do. The Helldivers stuff has been really fun. I want to get a PC so I can play Helldivers because I love playing games. I haven't had a chance to play any video games, but I would love to get Helldivers and play it. So I'm kind of want a PC now. I don't know, maybe could do it on my Mac, but my Mac's already slow enough as it is. So he's back. He's back. He's like, "Hey, I know you got nummies." What's a bio helmet? Like BioShock? He's like, "Hey, I'm here. Give me your nummies." Yeah, I actually want to play Helldivers because it looks like a lot of fun. I loved Halo. I'm always about the first-person shooters and open world type stuff. So anything like that really intrigues me. And making these Helldivers costumes or cosplay stuff's been really fun. Some of you guys are tuning in, just now tuning in. These are the prints I got off the K1 Max, one of the Helldivers ones. This is for a customer that's on the smaller side, so that's why it's so tiny. But really nice print. There's still some ghosting. I'm trying to get it in better light. My dog is whining at me because he knows I have chicken nuggets. So there's yeah, you can still see some of the ghosting. So I'm still playing around with some of the settings to get the right settings. But the K1 Max is working out pretty well. I thought about buying a second one. I don't know if I will. I'll probably wait for some of the other printers that are coming out. Maybe the K2 Mac, K2, what do they call it? K2 Plus, I think is what they're going to call it. So I might wait for that one to come out instead of buying another one. And then another Helldivers one for the same customer. Both these prints are from Hex 3D. I think it's Hex 3D. His files are really well detailed. It's a small little gauntlet. The original order was for a Galactic Armory kit, and the printing some of the pieces smaller turned out to be an issue. Sometimes when you scale things down too small, it makes the walls real thin and they get real brittle. So I end up having that issue. One of the walls was like one wall thick. It, really wasn't very thick, and I just didn't feel comfortable sending that to a customer. So I printed this one instead, which is a much thicker in a small scale. And it printed really nice. What's IPA? Smoothing with IPA. I mean, other than, beer. Indian Pale Ale. Can you smooth it with it? Do you drink a lot of beer and then that's how it starts looking smooth? I don't know what IPA is. Is that... That would be cool. Alien Skull would be cool. Yeah, I think who is it? Hex 3D has some really cool alien stuff. I think it's Hex 3D that I've seen it on. If you're just tuning in, the loud noise is the K1 Max. It's a very loud printer. It's got a real high-pitched whine to it. Oh yeah, alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Yeah, isopropyl alcohol. Is that right? Yeah. I've never tried that. I've heard that you can do it. You can use it. The fumes can to smooth stuff out. I've never tried it. Might work. I've heard of people using that Goop 3D, I think. They use that to smooth stuff out. My dog is still waiting for me to give him chicken nuggets. He's like, I know you got some nummies. I know you do. But I don't want to give them to him because I haven't ate yet. Yeah, putting together a whole cosplay setup is a lot of work. I did one full suit for myself. It was the Galactic Armory Clone Trooper. It was the Halo-fied Clone Trooper armor to go with my Halo Clone Trooper helmet. I showed that earlier. Let's see if I can show it again. Oh, wonder if it'll fit. It does. Yay! So I made a whole suit to go with this. It's basically a Halo-fied Clone Trooper. The icon, I think the concept was if Star Wars was in the Halo universe, this is kind of the Halo-fied. It actually looked pretty cool. I hadn't seen anybody do it, so I was like, oh, I'll do it. But this is a modified version of that helmet that you can get. Yeah, I knew it was for gluing, the gloop stuff, but I watched a video on somebody that used it for smoothing out a print, which was pretty crazy. Yeah, it took me about a month and a half, and I entered a contest, a Galactic Armory contest with it. I didn't win. I actually won like kind of like a runner-up prize where you get like a couple rolls of filament. But I made a whole entire suit, cosplay suit. It didn't fit me very well. I didn't scale it properly. It was one of my first times doing it, and it just didn't, didn't scale. I learned a lot from it. Put it that way. I use resin. Yeah, I use UV tough resin from Anycubic. That's the resin I like. It's cures really well. He's so desperate. He's like giving me kisses on my elbow. But I use UV tough resin to smooth everything out. I really like using resin to smooth stuff out. I've used a lot of different methods to get that smooth look, and that's been the best so far for me. Colt 3D, okay, yeah. I was just on there looking at other prints today. I know you want my food, but you can't have my food. It's my food, and I will let it go bad. I will. He's so mad. Oh my gosh. So I'll get a container, make a rack above. Okay, I'm gonna have to try it. I'll do it with like a failed print. That way, if I screw it up, I didn't, you know, I won't feel so bad. Are you gonna start talking? I think he's gonna start talking on me and be like, "Ah, rah, 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 rah." Yeah, I actually hadn't planned on being live this long, but it's working out. You guys hear the whistling noise from the K1 Max? It's the only downside so far to that printer. You know, some of the pros and cons that I've heard and dealt with myself. The Chitty X Max 3 is around 80 pounds. It's a very heavy printer. It's a very sturdy printer. But and the K1 Max is a very light printer, and I don't know that the lightness of the printer actually helps with the quality of the print. I often wonder if maybe it being too light, if that will, you know, is part of the reason why there's more ghosting on the K1 Max. You know, if there was maybe a heavier base, maybe that would help. You know, I mentioned earlier, I just ordered a couple printers that from Sovol, I think is what it is, the Sovol. I just ordered a couple printers from them that they just launched. Let's see if I can pull that up here again, show you guys. But that one's going to be an interesting one because the base stays on the bottom and it prints and goes up, where these printers print at the top and the base goes down. So I'll be interested to see if the ghosting goes away, because a lot of the wobble that's at the top of the printer, I think it's from that jerking of the printer head moving around real fast. But you know, I was really hesitant to spend a lot of money on a Core XY printer. I knew a lot of people had done that and had great success with like the Bamboo Lab ones, but I just had a hard time with it. You know, I didn't really want to spend the money. I mean, I could get two Elegoo Neptune 4 Maxes for the price of one of these, and so I was like, I'll just do that. I'll just get two of those, and I can print big stuff. Now that I have a Core XY printer, I don't want to go back to a bed slinger. So I get it now. I get why people buy Core XY printers. You can still layer shift. I could probably show you. I might even have a print here that layer shifted. And the reason why is because I didn't have Z-Hop enabled. I thought I did, and it turned out it was ramping. Actually, so this printed. This is a little chest piece for a smaller gentleman, but it was printing beautifully. I mean, look at how nice that was printing. And then it just started layer shifting, and then I came out to a big giant pile of spaghetti. It was nice. I was very happy. I have a lot of little half prints lately, and so I disabled the ramping setup and went back to the Z-Hop, and I think it's probably because I was printing. I don't know why. Honestly, I almost always use Z-Hop, and I don't know why I had ramping on, but I'm sure it's beneficial to have at some point on some prints, but it wasn't working out very well for me. The failed print I had today after doing the Z-Hop was because the filament clogged the nozzle, which was another frustration, because I had just replaced the nozzle, so it was literally a brand new nozzle and it got clogged again. This is the printer I just ordered, the Sovol. They had an introductory price of like $4.99. I paid the $5.50, and then like 2 hours after I placed the order, it was up to like $800. It's basically, as you can see, it's a 350 by 350 by 345 Core XY printer. The base sits down here at the bottom, so you can see down here. it stays stationary, and then this moves up. So I think that'll be interesting to see if there's as bad of ghosting on it because of the way it's designed. You know, I do think that some of the structural integrity of a printer does affect, especially at the speeds that we're printing. You know, for me to get the quality I get, if you're curious, I'm not printing at 300 millimeters per second. I'm printing around 200 millimeters per second, and maybe a little slower in some other features, but I'm still playing around with the jerk settings and that sort of thing to try to get. You picked one up as well. Awesome. Yeah, I had a buddy who was like, you should try this, you should get one of these, and it might replace my Elegoo's. I'm not sure. We'll see. I do like my Elegoo's, and I have like 3 of them. I have a 4th one ordered, so I do like my Elegoo's. I don't know that I would order another Anycubic. I just have not had good luck with the Anycubic. I had good luck for the first couple months, and then it's been a struggle to get it back to where it was. You know, it's probably user error. It's probably me, but I've replaced the hot end a few times, and I've replaced tons of pieces, and it just seems like it's not getting better. Where when I replace stuff on my Elegoo, it gets better. But I had the worst luck, so there's that. But I'm curious about this one. I'm hoping to get the Chitty Q1 Pros. I ordered those. I'm hoping to get one of those in. I was like this close to buying a Bamboo just to get one, but I think I'm going to hold off on Bamboo until they come out with a decent sized build volume. You know, the Chitty Q1 Pros are about the Bamboo size, but I paid like $450 for it, so it was a little more my price point, and it came with like a heated chamber system and all sorts of stuff. So there was a lot more features on the Chitty Q1 Pro than there was on the Bamboo Lab for the same price. To get the same sort of printer, I was going to have to buy the X1 Carbon for another $1,000 more, and I just couldn't justify that when Chitty just came out with one that's like it was less than $500, and I mean, and I've had good luck with the Chitties so far, so I'm kind of like, I'm going to go that route. It was an early bird pricing. It might still be up if you want to check it out, but it's the Q1 Pro. It's Bamboo Lab size. The square footage that it takes up, you know, as far as the printer itself, is much bigger than the Bamboo. These printers the Chitties are a lot more stout. They're a lot more heavier. So yeah, I've had almost every issue you can have with my my Neptune 4 Max, but I print all the time, and they've taken care of me every time I've called them and had an issue. They've sent me something, you know. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again a million times, I'm sure, but I have the worst luck. It's probably me. I'm probably just stupid, because you know how that goes. If you're dumb, you know, life's harder, and maybe that's why I'm, you know, have horrible luck with printers. I actually want to get I wanted to get a Bamboo Lab printer just to prove everybody that they do break, because if it's going to break, it'll break on me, because they all break on me. But I don't want to get a Bamboo Lab printer because I really don't want to pay the extra price for the name. Yeah, I've actually looked at the Flash Forge. I haven't bought one yet, but I looked at them, because it was a good price point. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to tell it to my wife when I was talking to her about buying printers. I was like, okay, well, I like having 300 by 300 as the minimum, but you know, there's a lot of pieces I print. Like this would have easily fit on a Bamboo Lab printer, and I mean, I probably could have fit a couple of those on a Bamboo Lab printer. Also, like when I print like blasters and weapons and that sort of thing, cosplay stuff, that most of those things are small enough they all fit in a Bamboo Lab. So, I mean, I can get away with a small printer for probably 30% of what I print. I think I can get about 80 to 90% of the stuff I print on the X Max 3s. It's not much now that I have to print on the Elegoo's. I usually just print chess pieces on the Elegoo's, big ones. I'm trying to think, I had one here. What do I have? I mean, I'm getting, this is off the X Max, so I can get it in the light. Dog hair. Can't get it in the light. So I mean, they're coming off good. Very light ghosting. Very, very light on the layer lines. Wouldn't take much to sand it and make it bright. Oh, I have one. My dog's staring at me. He's like, hey, you eating that chicken yet? So this came off of the Elegoo. So it's not bad. It's not a bad print. The Elegoo does have a lot more. Let's see if I can get it in here. I get a lot more like fur. It's not. It's basically like it's almost like a real light silk, like almost like a cobweb. I don't get a lot of stringy, but I get a lot of more of a cobweb with the filament I use. But I mean, the Elegoos are printing good, honestly. Other than the one that melted. I melted all the wires on the hotbed. Auto eject, that'd be kind of a fun feature. Yeah, that's true. Cheaper electricity. Yeah, I had a spot like that on the Anycubic, and then I started noticing like crappier prints. So when the belts start to fray or start to stretch, I started noticing bad quality prints. And so I've changed the belts out now on the Anycubic and on the Elegoo. But I'm not looking forward to changing a belt on one of these Core XY printers. They look really complicated. Yeah, I'm using JO's, well, and JO and Sunlu, basically same company, Meta PLA, and that's where I get that fur, the real light, fuzzy kind of feel. I just have to make sure everything stays clean. I know on my Anycubic, I didn't make a video about it, but on my Anycubic, the wheels that run on the rod system on the Anycubic, one of them got gumped up real bad with that cobwebby stuff. I wasn't paying attention, and then I noticed a pretty crappy print, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I ended up having to take that apart and realize how like gumped up it was with that cobwebby stuff. It's just kind of little crap like that happens to me all the time. Rapid, yeah. I'm cheap. I haven't figured out. I haven't spent the money other than, okay, I bought Elegoo's PLA Pro, and that turned out to be really good filament. I think the most money I've ever paid on for filament was like $17 a roll. I just caught one of my printers. You gotta see this. Oh, this is the kind of shit I deal with every day. All the time, every day, multiple times. What you printing, dude? It's just printing air. What is going on? So it's got filament. Oh, man, I'm such a dumbass. So it's been printing air this whole time. Because when you can hear that. That's the stupid fan. You hear that fan? Stupid ass fan. Loud as hell. Okay, so what I did wrong here, like I said, user error happens too often. What I did wrong here was when I was modifying this sensor. See if I can show you the sensor. So I printed this lift, the riser for the top, and then I put the sensor, moved the sensor from here up to here. What I did wrong was I didn't, when I put the filament back in, I didn't lock it and I didn't purge it. So it's probably just been sitting in there. I probably never actually like fully set it up to extrude the right amount of filament. Yeah, it popped out without me trying. So that's what I did. So yeah, my issues are almost always user error. Oh yeah, I don't use a heat gun. I use a torch. For that fur, yeah, I use a torch. I'll show you actually. Cannot believe I didn't purge this. Ha. That's what I use. Fire. The reason for that is because you can hit it lightly. If you hit it too long, it'll melt. But if you hit it lightly, you can melt up pretty quick. A little fur off pretty quick. I don't call it fur. It's basically like cobwebs. So you just kind of melt it off real quick. If it heats up and warps the plastic, then it wasn't printed thick enough, and I go back to the drawing board. So it's another thing I do to kind of test my prints before I mail them out to people. It's just something I like to do. I also oftentimes will grab a print and I'll like reef on it, and if I can snap it or break it in any way, then I know it's not a good quality print. So there's stuff like that I try to do that's quality control. So when I'm sending out orders to a customer, it's not going to be a fragile piece. I have an order for a customer that I need to get done that's going to be an armor kit for like, airsoft. So I was like, well, it'd be kind of fun, but got to make sure it's, strong material. So I am going to look into doing PETG filament. I haven't done that yet, but with the type of printers I have, I think it'll work out good. Yeah. See, this was the issue. I didn't purge it. Did not extrude filaments. Oh, cannot believe I did that. So that's the K1 Max. It's a good printer. It's, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good printer. Sorry, I'm just checking my other printers now. Always makes me paranoid when one of them goes south. So, yeah, the K1 Max is a good printer. It's just loud. That's my only downside. The only thing I don't like about it so far is it's loud. The ghosting is kind of sucks. The fact that there's a Facebook group up, for people that, have ghosting issues with this printer is kind of funny to me. But, for the price point, you could buy a heated chambered Chitty X Max 3. That's bigger, so it's kind of like I'd probably get the X Max 3 over the Creality K1. The heated chamber is good if you're going to do like ABS, that sort of thing. If you're not, then the Creality one is probably just fine. I don't print multiple colors, so the ABS is not, or the AMS system or whatever it's called, is not valuable to me. So I'm not really too worried about that. I am trying to make it so that every printer I have, the filament spool is separated. I just don't like having the spool on the printer. if the printer's going to move at high speeds and torques and stuff like that, I'm really worried about the ghosting and the effect of that weight, added weight. So if I can move it away and separate it, that's what I'm trying to do. That's why you see there's a roll in the wall. This one that I put up, it didn't work very well, so that was one of my failed prints today. It's because of where I mounted it and how I mounted it, so I've got to go back to the drawing board with this one. But that one worked. That one worked fine. Trial and error. Sorry, I'm reading your comments. Just to give you a sec. As far as Elegoo's PLA, to answer your question, I liked the PLA Pro. It was really similar to the Meta PLA that I'm used to. It's a strong PLA. You know, if it was me, I'd buy it in bulk and get it around $3 or $13 a roll. I have a hard time paying more than that. And then the printers, here's where I'm at. The printers can print fast. If you don't mind sanding and doing a little bit of the legwork, they can print fast. So Hyper PLA, if you don't mind doing the sanding and the extra work to get it to smooth out the print, or if you don't even care, some people don't care, they just paint the layer lines. I can't, you know, it drives me nuts. No, it does drive me nuts. I can't stand layer lines. That's why I use UV resin to smooth stuff out. But if you get like a rapid PLA or a hyper PLA, something that prints fast, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's worth the money if you're gonna print fast. You know, I find that the PLA Plus, the PLA Pro from Elegoo have been good. They've been good for printing at like 200 millimeters per second. That's about where I print right now. Is 200 millimeters per second. Sometimes, if it's even if on a Core XY, 300 is still kind of fast because it shakes the printer, and that's where you get the ghosting, and that's when you end up having to sand a lot of stuff. So if you're gonna, and that's kind of the catch-22. If you're gonna print fast and you're gonna get ghosting on your prints anyway, you might as well have, you know, like 0.3 layer height. So you're gonna sand the layer lines anyway, and you're gonna sand the ghosting off anyway, so you might as well just print at a higher layer line. I try to print at like 0.16, 0.18 to get the smooth prints like this. This is like a 0.6, I think, 0.16 layer height to get that smooth print and the detail. So the amount of work that has to go into this sanding and painting is not going to be as bad. And that's kind of why I do it this way. So when I send it to the customer, they don't have to have as much work. And that's also why I sold my print stuff. So if I print faster, they're going to deal with, you know, more labor, and I'm trying to save them from that. So that's why I do it. If you're not going to print fast, buying Hyper PLA is probably not in your best interest, just because it's expensive and it's designed to go real fast. And most PLA Pluses, the Meta PLA, will all print really well at 300 millimeters per second. But if you're going to only print at 200, you might as well, you know, I don't hate regular PLA. I just prefer PLA Plus or Pro if you get it for the Elegoo. You know, the Sunlu Meta PLAs, it has a lower temperature you can print at. So if you print the Meta PLA, or the PLA Meta, I think is what it is, if you print that one at the low temperature they recommend, you have to print slow, because they only recommend going up to like 100 millimeters per second. So, and their suggested temperature is like 180 or 190. I print their Meta PLA at 220, 210, and I print around 200 millimeters per second. So, and it prints good. I mean, it's got a good fluid print to it. It's kind of, I mean, that's what I prefer. That's, you know, That's why I like the Elegoo's PLA Pro. It was really similar to the Meta PLA as far as durability. You know, when I grab it, you know, I squeeze them and stuff. I want it to be a good quality print. I don't want it to get somebody and have it shatter or something like that. But you know, I want to do PETG. I know there's a lot of guys I know that do it. So I haven't used it yet, but I want to. I have 2 dryer boxes. Where did I put them? Oh, they're on the floor. I've had them for quite a while. I used to use them all the time, and then I had one incident where I think I over dried my filament, if that's even possible, because every time I dried a roll, I clogged a nozzle. It was really, really strange. So I just stopped drying my filament, and I haven't had too many issues since then. I don't know if that's a possibility, if over drying is a possibility. It seemed like a logical reason, because that's what was happening. I was literally pulling one off and putting it on and out of the dryer, and it just was like instant clog. Maybe I just had a fluke, you know, batch. I buy like 10 rolls at a time, so could have just been a fluke batch. I know a lot of guys that print with PETG, so. Oh, thanks for the congratulations. Yeah, it's I used to do lives on Instagram quite often, actually. What do I like more, the Cobra or the Elegoo Neptune? I like Elegoo's Neptune 4. It's not. I mentioned this in the video, one of the videos. The Cobra 2 Max is a little more user friendly. When you push a button, there's no manual bed leveling. But in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, I prefer the Neptune 4 Max. I actually got rid of the knobs. I went straight to locking nut on the Elegoo Neptune 4 Maxes. And I think I use Loctite as well, and I haven't had to manually level my bed ever since. You know, you can get away with your bed mesh being wonky. Your printer's designed to remember where it's at, so you can get away with pretty wonky. One of these printers, I mean, most of the core printers are pretty flat as far as the bed mesh. If you're going to the Clipper and you see the bed mesh. Most of them are pretty flat, but I've got one printer here that's like a mountain. It's weird, but it prints fantastic. So it's, you know, I'm not super picky about the bed mesh being perfect. I know a lot of people get really, really OCD about their bed being perfectly level. It's really not necessary. But that was one of the frustrations with the Elegoo versus the Anycubic. The fact that I didn't have to manually level a bed made the Anycubic a little nicer for me. I've had so many issues with both printers, and I have the worst luck. So if I have issues, it's almost every printer has an issue, and it's probably me. I'm probably dumb, but I have a lot of issues with printers. It's, you know, both of them have had issues. Both manufacturers have sent me parts. I've now ordered 4 Elegoo Neptune 4s. So if that tells you anything, I only have one Anycubic. You know, it's not a bad printer. It you know, right now it's printing like shit, but you know, I think it's a nozzle or a hot end or something. But I mean, they all have their own issues. They all have stuff that goes wrong, and you got to fix them. And you know, I really like being able to get into Clipper and learning about that right now. I've been learning a lot about how to get into the back end of Clipper. So, like when you log into your printer through the IP address, I've been looking into and learning about how to log into Clipper from even the back end of that back end. You basically, you know, straight up go straight into the files, and you can read all the files and add. What I did is I learned how to do that because Chitty, the Chitty X-Max 3s, you can add time lapse to Clipper by going in there and adding files and that sort of thing. There's quite a few videos about it. It's pretty cool. And the Elegoo Neptune 4 Plus that I have that doesn't work, I bought it broken. I actually have to get a PC and basically hardwire straight into it, and because I don't have an IP address to log in. So a lot of people have asked that, why don't I just use the IP address? I don't have an IP address, I can't get it to load, so I'm going to actually have to install Clipper on this printer. That's how bad it is, and I've never done that. It's supposed to be fairly decent if you have the right, parts and you know what you're doing. But going back to the original question, Anycubic over Elegoo, they're about the same, and I've had good luck with both. I just prefer the Elegoo. Now that I've done the linear rail upgrades on the Elegoo, I really prefer the Elegoo. It just moves smoothly. I know I never posted the video. I did the voiceover and then I never freaking posted the video. But I want to do the X-axis linear rails now on that as well. So that's gonna be my next mod. A mount on the side for the, yes. So I actually had both mounts. On the X-Max 3, I had it mounted on the left and the right side, depending on which printer. If you can see, there's a little bit of a gap between them right there. Before there was a big gap, and I had both filament rolls on the sides, and it was working out pretty well. You don't have to drill into the print. You can use there's a clip that uses the handle, and it just kind of clips into the handle and uses pressure so you don't have to void your warranty by drilling into a printer. So it worked out good. I just wanted to get it off the printer altogether. That's why it's on the wall. Well, if he's done talking about one thing yeah, I'm ADD really bad, unfortunately. Stop talking about the shitties. That's funny. I like them. They're good, but I also today really wanted to smash one of them. So, there's that. Yeah, if you're in a high humidity area, you definitely want a dryer box. That's just the case. I don't use glue sticks, but I'll probably have to if I use PEG. Yeah, I've heard that before. All right, let's go back to the bottom. Okay, the Mando Predator helmet. Oh, I actually have a customer that bought one. I have to print it and get it done. I have to get one of the Mando Predator helmets done. Sorry, I'm trying to read through the things that. Yeah, the Neptune 4 Max does need love. They all do. Have I noticed any wear on my belts with the Cobra Y belt? Yes. No. Not the Y belt. I probably replaced the X belt on my Cobra 2 Max 4 or 5 times. I have not had to replace a belt on the Y axes yet. Knock on wood here, because I don't want to have to replace that one. I mean, I'm going to have to at some point, but I have not had to do that with that one. I have replaced the Y axis belt on my Elegoo Neptune 4 Max on one of them. But I think I've replaced more X axis belts than I have the Y axis belts. So that's been more of the issue. Yeah, I don't know what he's going on about either, Blaze. I was like, okay. My food's probably cold now. I don't care. I could actually Sonic Pad, huh? Flipper on 4 printers. I might have to try that. I might have to get the Sonic Pad. There's a way to do it through a PC, and I just need to get. I need to find one of my old laptops and see if I can do it. Somebody mentioned that in one of the comments, and I was like, oh yeah, I do have an old laptop. I tried using my old Mac. I have an old iMac. Apparently, it's too old to even put a VPN on, so that's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like it could get so old you can't put a VPN on it. So I'm probably going to rip the guts out of that and use the hard drive because it's got a terabyte hard drive on it. And if I can't update it and I can't use it, other than maybe watching TV on it or something, what's the point? So I might just tear it apart. Oh my gosh. Need a moderator. Yeah, we need a moderator. I talk too much, so I'm sorry. I don't pay attention enough to the little text at the bottom. Yeah, there's times where I want to smash almost every printer. I don't know how many times I've woke up the next morning and my back is killing me because I've been hunched over a printer. I'm pretty sure I've pulled something and it's just a permanent pain in my back now from being hunched over a printer. But yeah, I mean, I laughed. Honestly, I laughed when I walked out to the Elegoo, the Neptune 4 Max that had the melted wires. I just started laughing. I mean, I was like, what do you do? I mean, I literally just finished fixing it. And then I was like, I almost had the Anycubic working. And then the wires burned up. And it was like, what do? You just laugh. You just kind of go, whatever. You know. I don't even know how to do. Honestly, I'm still new to this. I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to make people moderators. Oh my gosh. Probably would be helpful though, huh? A lot of people viewing. 29. I think I was up to 30 at one point. Crazy. Let's go see the Creality. It's actually printing this time because I wasn't being a dumbass. So it's still pretty fast if you think about it. It's like looking through a prison cell. This is the reason why I don't take the doors off. That's why I put this vent up here. Well, the ladies are having fun. Ladies are having fun doing something. Oh my gosh. I'm missing out. No, I didn't check it. I forgot to check that out. Smart Guys Computers. Nope, I have not. Yeah, I have one of my old printers is a Creality CR10 knockoff. This is actually my first Creality. I've never had a Creality. The K1 Max is my first one. I'm actually gonna go. I'm hungry, so I'm actually probably gonna go soon. They're having so much fun out there. That's what I'm always looking at. I made the Yoda, life-size Yoda. I made him. He holds a actual working lightsaber. $150 is not bad, actually. Yeah, I'll have to do that, dude. Next time I do another live, I'll just, if you're on here, I'll have you I'll have you moderate things. I need to probably set it up to be a more official. I just haven't really ever really. I Funny thing is, I have like some really cool cameras because I used to do off-roading, and so I bought some really cool GoPros. I actually have modded GoPros. I don't know if you've ever seen those before, but it's a mod called Backbone, I believe, and you can change out the lenses on a GoPro. It's really cool, but I've got a couple of those, and I'm like, why don't I just set those up? I mean, I don't know how many GoPros, and I have the microphones, and they used to do interviews, and were you not here when I talked about the Cobra 2 Max and the Neptune 4 Max? Like, I was literally just talking about it. Did you go away? Because that would be kind of comical if you left and I started talking about it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I will. I'm not going to repeat everything I said. Long story short, they both break. They both have their own issues. I personally like the 4 Max better than the Cobra. Like I said, they both have their own issues, and I've had to fix both of them multiple times. The customer service has been fine with both of them. Elegoo is taking care of me. I own 4 Elegoo Neptune 4s now and 1 Anycubic Cobra 2. So I don't, that might say something. There's mods I've done to my Elegoo that made it a better printer than the Cobra. So if you don't mind doing a little bit of tinkering, you can make it a better printer. I also like that you can use and get into your Clipper interface on Elegoos. Anycubic kind of locks you out of all that stuff. And I agree with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Wait for a big Core XY printer. I just ordered that one. The Sovol. I just ordered that one. That's probably the biggest I've seen so far. So it's a pretty good sized build volume, and it's a Core XY printer. I don't know anything about the brand. I've never used their brand, but I've had a lot of people tell me good things about them. If you're gonna get a printer, like I said, I don't have any experience with it. There is some setup with it. They say they recommend it's going to take an hour to set up, which is not easy. It's not a plug and play. The Chitty X Max 3 is pull it out of the box and push a couple buttons, and then you can start printing. So it's a very quick setup and play, plug and play kind of thing. Where the one I'm ordering is not a setup, plug and play. You have to assemble it. A lot of assembly required. But it's also one of the biggest Core XY printers I've ever seen. So hi buddy. See my buddy? He's like, hey, I see you talking. Yeah, I still haven't given me your chicken. Yeah, just released today, and the entry pricing is like $550, I think. So it's a good printer, from what I've heard, as far as brands go. He's licking my hand and biting it at the same time. He's like, he's hilarious. He's like, hey, that's Loki. Loki, the dog of mischief. So yeah, I would have to agree with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Buy a big Core XY printer. There's a place for a printer that's 420 by 420. But sorry, I'm reading the comments now. What? Get your toy then. Bring it here. Someone needs to be played with. He's getting fussy. He's like, play with me already. Play with me. Actually, I think he just wants my chicken. I think he just wants my food. Yeah, I'm hoping. You know, they say what is it, beginning of May is when they're going to start shipping. So hopefully I'll get one. There is a review on YouTube by somebody. I watched it. That's of this new printer. So if you are interested, look it up on YouTube. I know there's at least one review already. I didn't watch it all the way. I only watched a little bit of it because I'm always just busy working on things. So, yeah. You guys have more questions before I get going? Did I answer your question, Pancakes? Which one did you buy? Did you buy the Cobra? I have a Cobra 2 Max. Okay, so if you're still on here, hopefully you're still on here, it's a good printer. If you're brand new to 3D printing, it's probably one of the easier ones to work with because it is fairly simple. Setup wise is easier. Calibration's easier. The bed leveling is much easier. So the Anycubic Cobra 2 Max is an easier printer to use if you're new to 3D printing. I haven't had, like with the Elegoo, the bed wire is melted. I've probably done more repairs on my Elegoo than I have on my Anycubic, but right now, currently, my Anycubic is not working very well, so I think it might be a hot end issue. I think I already replaced the hot end assembly, or the hot end in my Elegoo, or in my Anycubic, but I think Anycubic is sending me the whole assembly. I'm really hoping they are, because I have a feeling the whole assembly replacement would actually be a better way to do it. Thank you. I had been looking at doing some sort of a tent for those big printers, and I didn't know what to do. And then I had a grow tent for a paint booth. That's actually my next thing to set up once I get my garage cleaned out. I have a paint booth. Basically, I'm turning a grow tent into a paint booth. And so that was what I had originally bought, and then was thinking, well, why don't I just do that with these 3D printers? And then I turned it sideways, and they fit perfect. It took me a while to find one that would fit, all 3 printers well, because you have to keep in mind the printer's going to move back and forth, so you have to have a big enough, tent that it's going to keep that movement without hitting anything. So, I mean, it took me a while to find the right size printer. Or print the grow tent, but it's worked out well. I only did it because we had a cold front come in during winter, and the printers just started failing horribly. They got too cold. The Anycubic actually was the worst in the cold. It had like a brain fart. It was like the printer, maybe the computer itself inside, just kind of had a brain fart. It was like, and then it just stopped working. Yeah, I have a space heater. My garage gets too cold. I actually probably should spend some time sealing it more. I've got it's insulated. I just haven't sealed the garage door section, I think, well enough. But I do have a couple space heaters. I just can't have them running 24/7. And the last time I had my space heaters on in the garage, it tripped a bunch of breakers. So I just said, screw it. And put a grow tent up. The printers themselves inside the grow tent on a cold day keep it warm enough. Right now, with the temperatures in the 60s here, I just opened the grow tent all the way up, and I think it's 2 walls now are exposed on the grow tent. The front wall and the top are now exposed to the elements, so it stays cool enough in there. I haven't had any issues with that as far as it getting too hot or too much humidity. But I am going to get a humidifier of some sort, maybe a digital one. I looked at a smoke detector that had a humidifier and a variety of different features. So I think I'm going to go that route inside the grow tent, just to kind of keep an eye on, if there's if smoke ever happens, like a buddy of mine's Anycubic caught fire. If that happens, I want to be notified by text message in case I'm in the house. I'm almost always home, but I'm never out at the garage. I used to be in the garage more often, now I'm in the office more often. So yeah, I think I do like the grow tent though. It's actually worked out pretty well. Make sure I haven't missed. Oh, I did miss one. Yeah, that would work. I printed, so I actually have a lot of desiccant packs. I used to work for a clothing company, and we used to have these big ones come in our boxes. And so I saved a bunch of them, but you can buy them super cheap off Amazon in a big box. And then you can print your own like desiccant box. There's several different printable files where you can print a box, and it's basically a mesh box, and you put your desiccant beads inside it, and it works real well. Funny thing is, I actually use my dryer boxes for my filament to dry the desiccant boxes. So after a month or so, I'll take that box, I'll throw it in my dryer, I'll dry the desiccant beads back out, and then I'll put them back in the tent. And I have a couple of those I've done, so that's actually worked out pretty well. You're looking at me again. You fussy? He looks fussy. He went. Bye, Felicia. All right, guys, I should go. I need to eat dinner. It's now 7 o'clock. Loki says hi and bye. He wants me to eat it. He wants me to share my chicken. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I might actually save this one. I did one other video like this. Oh, rah yourself. Ah, rah yourself. Huskies. He doesn't. He's rah. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully it was helpful. Next time I do one, maybe I'll do a giveaway. I got enough Funko Pops to give them away. Go watch Fallout. That was a great series. If you haven't watched it yet on Amazon, it was excellent. Even if you haven't played the video game, go watch Fallout. It was excellent. I was geeking out at that whole show. What? And then tomorrow, Rebel Moon or whatever it is, that's coming out, the second one. I'll be watching that. So, thanks again, everybody. Have a good night. I'll chat with you again.